Okay, so let's have a look at calculating when we've got an unknown on both sides of the equal sign. Okay, slightly different as the ones we've just done have just got one x value in it. This has got an x on each side of the equals, so we need to combine the x's all on one side and get all the rest of the numbers all on the opposite side. So on the one star one, we're looking for the smallest version of x. So I've got 5x and 4x, so 4x is the smallest, so let's move that one over to the opposite side. Remember, it's positive, so we're doing the inverse. We're going to subtract 4 lots of x. 5x take away 4x is just going to give me 1x. And remember, we've done nothing with this 8, so we're just going to bring it down. So x equals 8. So quite a straightforward one-step equation where on this one x equals 8. Pause the video, have a go at the one on the right. See how you got on. So we've got 4x, move it to the opposite side of the equation and do the inverse, which is subtract. Remember, my 4x is positive. Okay, so 7x take away the 4x is going to give me 3 lots of x, and that's going to equal minus 21 or negative 21. Okay, I've got 3 lots of x, so remember I'm multiplying by that, so one extra step to the last one, it went straight down to just 1x. So we didn't have to do this last step, which is divide. Remember, when I've got 3 lots of something, I need to divide it by 3 to get me 1. So I'm going to divide that by 3. 3 goes into 21 7 times, and I've got a negative and a positive, so my answer is going to be negative. Cool. Let's have a look at the next level up. You can see from this one the only difference is I've got an additional term, additional number term, that I've got to try and get rid of. So let's start with the same process. Let's get the smallest version of x and let's move it to the other side of the equation, other side of the equals, and we're going to do the inverse function, which is subtract 5x take away 4x is going to give me 1x. I'm going to bring the rest of the numbers down, so I'm just going to rewrite it so it looks a bit neater. So I've got x plus 4 equals 9. Okay, so we're going to look to take the 4, move it to the other side of the equation, and do the inverse function, do the opposite function. X equals 9 take away 4, which is going to give me 5. Okay. Pause the video and have a go at the next one. Remember, if you end up with a coefficient of x, say for instance you was 4x equals and a number, we would have to divide through by the coefficient on the next one to cancel it. Give it a go, see how you go on. Let's see how you did. So remove the smallest version of x by putting it to the opposite side of the equation and doing the inverse. 7x minus 4x gives me 3x. I've still got my plus 4 and I've still got my plus 1, so I can just write that as 1. I'm then removing my 4, making it easier by taking it to the opposite side and doing the inverse. So on the left I've now got 3x and I've got 1 subtract 4, so if I start at 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So my answer would be minus 3. And then I'm going to divide through by the coefficient, divide through by the same number on the bottom. So minus 3 divided by 3 is going to give me minus 1. And I've just got the x on the left. Cool. Now hopefully you'll see on this one we're going up another level of difficulty. This time we're introducing some negatives. So let's look at the left hand side one again. The smallest version of x, this is what we're looking to do. Now when you've got the negatives, remember that if we've got 0 there, and I've got minus 3x, which would be there, and minus 8x, which would be there, okay, if we want the smallest version of x, minus 8 is smaller or lower than minus 3. So this time, even though it doesn't really seem that it's correct to do so, let's get the minus 8, because that's a smaller number, and move it across the other side. Now you could get rid of the minus 3, it makes no difference when we get there, so I'll rework this one twice just to show you. So I'm going to take the minus 8, that's the smallest x, do the inverse, remember I'm going to add it. So I'm starting at minus 3 and I'm adding 8, so 1, 2, 3 gets me to 0. I've got 5 more steps to do, so that's going to get me to positive 5x. Okay, now it started off as a negative because I was negative 3. When I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I end up being at 5 lots of x. So positive 5x. Okay, we've still got the negative 7. So let's put that at the front where it is. Okay, remember my negative 8x has moved and I've just got 3 on that side. So we need to get rid of that negative 7. Let's move it to the other side and do the inverse. 3 plus 7 gives me 10, and that's going to equal 5 lots of x. Okay, so if that equals 5 lots of x, we want to find out what 1 lot of x equals. So to do that, we're going to divide through by the 5, divide through by the 5. 5 goes into 5 once, so I've got 1 lot of x. 5 goes into 10 twice, so x equals 2. And remember I said that it didn't matter which side the x was on. That's exactly the same as writing x equals 2. Okay, so I'm just going to do it exactly the same question, okay, and this time getting rid of the minus 3 instead. So let's say we didn't want to get rid of the minus 8 and we wanted to get rid of the minus 3 first. So we're going to get rid of the minus 3, move it over the other side, and I'm going to add 3 lots of x on. We're doing the same thing, we're down at minus 8, minus 7, minus 6, minus 5. So if I add 3 on, I'm getting closer to 0, I get to minus 5. So I've got 3 minus 5 lots of x equals negative 7. So I've got exactly the same same coefficient here, negative 5. If we look to get rid of the 3, we want to move that away. It's positive 3. So we take the sign with it and do the inverse. So we're going to subtract 3. Minus 7. Subtract 3. Minus 8. Minus 9. Minus 10. And I've got minus 5 lots of x. Okay. And the final step, I'm dividing through by the whole of my coefficient, including my sign. Divide by minus 5. Okay, so x equals 5 goes into 10 twice, and a minus makes a plus. So my answer is x equals 2. So it doesn't matter which way around you do it, and it's your choice. My way of doing it is always to remove the smallest version of x, but as long as you do that same process where you're doing the inverse function or the opposite function, you won't go far wrong. Pause the video, have a go at the next one. Okay, let's see how you got on. Well, if I've got 7x and I've got negative 2x, the negative is going to be the smallest. So let's move that across. I'm going to do the inverse function and add it. So 7, add 2, gives me 9 lots of x. Bring down the 4, and bring down the negative 68. I want to get rid of the 4, So let's move it across and do the inverse. Okay. Now imagine we're at this point here, which is negative 68, and we're subtracting, so we're going to the left. Okay, remember 0 is up here, so we're going to go negative 69, negative 70, negative 71, negative 72. So all I'm doing is counting down 4 more steps. Okay, so I've got negative 72 is equal to 9 lots of x. I've got 9x left here and negative 72. Okay, so just going to delete that out so I can get some room at the bottom. Okay, and then we're looking to do the last step, which is to divide through by the coefficient, which is the same number at the front of x, and divide how many 9s go into 72. 9 goes into 72 8 times, and a negative and a positive is going to give me a negative.